The National Council on Aging is a large nonprofit agency or company. They're not affiliated with the government, but they're largely supported by the federal government, who gives them many millions of dollars each year. Their mission is that they advertise is to help seniors, quote, especially those who are struggling. The National Council on Agency, in their articles, write how there are 15 million seniors who have incomes below 200% of the poverty line. And also that these seniors have debt. Many of them have debt problems. So I want to share with you some of the articles from the National Council on Agency, which are really a disservice to seniors. And I'll share with these and go over them with you because I think they're important for people to know. Here's the first one, and there are quite a few here. Getting help with credit card debt, 5 things older adults should know. This is dated, not that old, July 29th, 2022. Okay. Now, they talk about the article begins to talk about the huge problems seniors have with debt and with credit card debt. So this is their 5 key strategies. The first one is to contact your credit card company. Okay. First, as we talk about this, you need to remember that the seniors that have problems with this are seniors generally that are lower income or poor. They're the ones who struggle with credit card debt. Seniors that have money can maintain their credit cards. They don't have a problem. But it's the seniors that are poor or lower income that don't have enough money are the ones that generally have these problems. Common sense tells us that. Okay, so contact the credit card companies. One thing a credit card company will never do is they'll never tell a senior, by the way, your Social Security is protected, so is your pension. If you can't afford to pay us, you can use this money for your food and your medicine. You don't need to pay the debt. So by referring the National Council on Aging and referring them directly to the credit card company, they're leaving out something that's really important because a senior would never be told this by a credit card company. So what's the next thing? Understand the 2 ways to pay off credit card debt. They call it the snowball method and the avalanche method. Well, that's great, but the problem with the seniors that have the financial problems, they don't have any snow to create an avalanche to pay a debt, or they can't even have enough money to make a snowball to pay a debt. So once again, the article's fine, but one thing this article doesn't say, we're going to get into it. Well, I'm going to show you. So what's the third thing they talk about? Okay, consider a debt management plan. Now, what a debt management plan is, or participate in credit counseling. It's the same kind of thing. Okay, and that's the end of the article. Okay. Debt management companies are generally nonprofit. Okay. They're supported by the credit card industry. They collect money from people and pay the credit card or the bank, and they have arrangements with the bank or the credit card company that they get to take a certain percentage as a donation, and they also receive donations from the banks and credit card companies. Okay, that's what credit counselors do. Money management companies do. They're nonprofit, and I talk to seniors all the time enroll in debt management companies, and many of them are put in utter poverty, making a payment to a nonprofit debt management company, and I ask them, were you ever told that, by the way, you don't need to pay this debt, that your income is protected? You can use it for your food and your medicine and your electricity, your heat. And no, Mr. Olson, they never told me that. Why don't they tell them that? Well, they have a built-in conflict of interest. They get paid by the companies on whose behalf they collect from seniors, and they don't tell seniors the truth. And what's sad is this article from National Council on Agency, it doesn't say one word about the fact that the senior's income is protected. It's available for their needs. They don't need to pay the debt. They can have creditors stop harassing them. Instead, they're steered toward debt management companies who give seniors false or incomplete information. Okay, so that's one article. Here's another one. This is called What is a Debt Management Plan? And this was published March 2nd, 2022. Again, not that long ago. Once again, it talks about a debt management plan. Now remember, this information is being provided to seniors, National Council on Aging, who have debt problems. They go to this website looking for help. How does a debt management plan? What are the benefits? What are the disadvantages? Find a credit counseling agency, and they actually recommend GreenPath down here. But what they don't say is that donations from GreenPath and these other companies, debt management companies. And that's why they refer them to them. In this article, there's not one mention to a senior that, by the way, your Social Security is protected. If you can't afford to pay the debt, you don't have to. Instead, they steer them to a debt management company that will never tell them that information. But this article never tells them that information. So that's the second article from the National Council on Aging. Okay, here's another one. Is credit counseling worth it? Money management for older adults. So, of course, this is designed for seniors that are having financial problems. In fact, it mentions that. What happens if you don't pay the debt? Okay, what is credit counseling? What is a debt management plan? How to choose consumer credit counseling service. Is credit counseling right for me? Once again, this article from the National Council on Agency, whose mission is to help seniors, especially seniors who are struggling, never mentions once the fact that the senior's income is protected, including their pension, their 401, their IRA, under federal and state laws, their VA benefits. Instead, they're guided to a debt management companies who have a conflict of interest because they're supported by the credit card or the banks. That's who support them. That's on whose behalf they collect money and pay to. And the National Council on Agency, they get donations from these companies, and so they never give the senior the complete information in these articles. So is there another article? Well, let's see. Here's one. Debt collection, what older adults need to know. This was just a couple months ago, August 10th. Okay. It says, it starts out, key takeaway, more seniors are carrying debt in retirement than ever before. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. They'll eventually be sent to debt collection. In this guide, you'll learn what to expect when you're contacted by a debt collector. Okay. And then it talks about the financial problems seniors have. What is debt collection? How does debt collection work? Okay, that's all great. What are debt collection rules protecting me? That's great. What if I don't agree with the debt? How does having a debt collection affect my credit score? What should I do if my debt is in collections? Okay, this is what they say. Pay off the balance in a lump sum, request a repayment plan, work with a credit counselor. Okay, that's pretty much the end of the article. Okay. It's difficult to imagine anything worse than that. This article is directed to seniors that are struggling, ones who have debt problems, and their solution is to pay it off when they don't have the money to pay it off. Request a repayment plan. Yeah, go without food or medicine to pay the debt, or talk with a credit counselor who's never going to tell them, by the way, your income is protected. Very rarely, if ever. That's my experience. but it never gives them the most basic fact that, by the way, your Social Security is protected. It can't be taken from you. You can send what's called a cease and desist letter and stop a debt collector from bothering you. They have to leave you alone. So, yeah, that this article just came out in August. Okay, is there another article that we can look at? Well, I think there is. Here we go. How does medical debt affect older adults? This was just a month ago, October 30th, or a little over a month ago. What is medical debt? Health insurance, what are the dangers of medical debt? I mean, what should I do? Try to negotiate it down, ask about financial assistance. Now, this is all good advice, okay? Except for one thing. It's the same thing that we talked about before. Nothing's mentioned about the fact that a senior's income is protected, and if they can't afford it, they don't have to pay it, okay? So that's the problem that we have with the National Council and Agency in these articles. Now, I'm sure the National Council, they're good people that work there, okay? Maybe they don't know about the fact that seniors' income is protected and can't be used and can't be taken from them, and it's available for their needs. But I've written them before on multiple occasions, never really got a response back. Any satisfaction with the response. Maybe they get these articles, maybe the credit industry writes these articles for the National Council and Agency because they receive donations from them, the credit industry. The credit card companies write these articles maybe, or the people writing them really don't understand the law. But if anyone should understand the law, with donations from the federal government up to words of $50 million a year, you think the National Council and Agencies could afford to get the information right. So, I have a real problem with these articles from the National Council and Agency. They're just simply wrong. If their mission is to help seniors, especially those who are struggling, they're going about it the wrong way. Probably one of the biggest problems seniors have that are struggling are financial problems, are debt problems. Nearly half of seniors have incomes within 200% of the poverty line, and they owe debt more than ever before. I talk to them all day long. So I wish the National Council Agency would get their act in gear, do the right thing. Reach out to me. I'll be glad to write an article for them. The seniors should be given the right information. They shouldn't. The information that they need is that their income is protected. They don't need to pay this debt. They can be protected from collector harassment. Instead, they shouldn't be steered towards debt management companies who will do nothing but take advantage of seniors. So that's my message. I hope someone at the National Council Agency hear this. Once again, I don't think they're doing this. I hope they're not doing this intentionally. But if they hear this video, they know it now, that there's a problem with your articles, that they're steered towards sending seniors that struggle and have problems to debt management who will never give them correct information, or rarely would they ever do that. And I know, I talk to seniors every day, seniors that go without food or medicine because they're paying a debt management company. And I ask them, were you ever told when you enrolled with this debt management company, GreenPath, or any of the other ones, by the way, Mrs. Jones, you don't really need our help because all your Social Security is protected? No, I was never told that, Mr. Olson. Why didn't they tell me that? Well, they don't tell you that because that's not in their financial interest. They have a conflict of interest, okay? Or maybe the person that hired by the debt management company, they're not informed that. It's not part of their speaking points. Now, these debt management companies, they help a lot of younger people that maybe need this help, but they put seniors into the same box with younger people whose income is at risk, who could be garnished, when that can't happen to seniors, when their income is protected. So, National Council and Agency, I hope you get your act in gear, because I'm tired of having people call me that have been going without their medicine because they've been steered toward debt management companies, and some of them by the articles in the National Council of Aging website.